Fear is powerful. It's sharp, it's loud, and it knows exactly how to get your attention. It whispers when you're about to take a risk. It shouts when you step out of your comfort zone. And most of the time, we listen to it. We slow down, we step back, we stop trying. But what if fear wasn't your enemy? What if it was your teacher, a messenger carrying a map toward your growth? We're taught to avoid fear, to silence it, to pretend it doesn't exist. But the truth is, fear is energy. And energy doesn't disappear, it just transfers. The fear you don't face doesn't fade away. It finds somewhere else to live, in your hesitation, in your anxiety, in your procrastination. The only way to free yourself from it is to use it, to redirect it, to turn it into fuel. Every person who's ever achieved something great has felt fear. The difference is they didn't let it make the decisions. They didn't wait for it to leave before they took the next step. They learned to walk with it, to make peace with it, to let it become the signal, not the stop sign. You'll never reach a point in life where fear completely disappears. It's wired into your DNA for a reason, to protect you. But sometimes it gets confused. It can't tell the difference between a real threat and an imagined one. It doesn't know the difference between danger and discomfort. It reacts the same way to both. That's why growth feels scary, because your mind interprets it as risk, even when it's opportunity. The key is to stop asking, how do I eliminate fear? And start asking, how do I work with it? Because courage doesn't mean you're fearless. Courage means you act anyway. Courage means you show up trembling, doubting, second guessing, but still moving. That's what real power looks like. If fear is holding you back, that doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. Fear is a natural part of ambition. The higher you aim, the louder it gets. It shows up right before every major breakthrough, not to stop you, but to test how badly you want it. Fear is proof that you're standing on the edge of something meaningful. Think about it. The things that scared you in the past eventually became normal. Speaking up in class, driving a car, starting a job, all of those things used to terrify you, but repetition rewired your brain. You trained yourself to see those experiences as familiar, not frightening. That's what happens every time you move through fear instead of away from it. It loses power and you gain it. The mistake most people make is waiting for confidence before they act. But confidence doesn't come before courage. It comes after. It's the reward you earn for doing the thing you were afraid of. You don't build confidence by thinking about action. You build it by taking action while scared. Fear is information. It's data. It tells you what you value. You're afraid to fail because success matters to you. You're afraid to be judged because connection matters to you. You're afraid to start because growth matters to you. Every fear points directly to something important, and that means it's not your enemy. It's your compass. The most dangerous fears are the quiet ones, the ones that hide under your excuses, the ones that sound reasonable. It's not the right time. I'm not ready. I'll start when things slow down. But what those sentences really mean is, I'm scared. They sound logical, but they're emotional, and logic will always lose to emotion unless you learn how to name it. So name it. Say it out loud. I'm scared to fail. I'm scared they'll laugh. I'm scared to start over. Because once fear has a name, it loses half its power. What stays hidden controls you. What's spoken can be changed. You can't outthink fear, you have to outmove it. The only thing stronger than fear is action. Every time you take a small step forward, even while scared, you train your brain to separate fear from danger. You show yourself that the feeling won't kill you, and that proof rewires everything. Fear shrinks when you stop giving it authority. It grows when you negotiate with it. You can't argue with fear. It always has a point. It will always list every possible outcome that could go wrong. So instead of debating with it, decide without it. Say, yes, I hear you, and I'm doing it anyway. The people who win in life aren't fearless and they're decisive. They stop waiting for the emotion to change before they make the move. They understand that the fear is not a wall, it's a wave, and if you surf it long enough, it starts carrying you forward. When you reframe fear as fuel, everything changes. The same adrenaline that once froze you becomes the fire that propels you. The same nervous energy that once held you hostage becomes momentum. It's not about removing fear, it's about redirecting it. You can feel fear and still make progress. You can feel doubt and still take the first step. You can feel anxiety and still choose courage. The feeling doesn't have to match the movement. When fear says you can't, respond with, watch me. When it whispers, you're not ready, say, neither was anyone else who made history. When it screams, what if you fail? Answer with, what if I don't? The goal isn't to stop being afraid, it's to stop letting fear make your decisions. If you wait until you're fearless, you'll wait forever. But if you start while you're scared, you'll realize you've been capable all along. Fear only has power when it controls your direction. Once you start moving through it, it becomes fuel. It burns, yes, but it burns clean. It clears your path. It sharpens your focus. It keeps you alert. It becomes the fire that drives you forward instead of the fog that holds you back. You are stronger than your fear. You faced harder things and survived. Fear is not a signal to stop, it's a sign that something inside you is waking up. That's the moment you lean in, not pull back. You'll never regret being brave. You'll only regret the times you let fear silence something powerful inside you. Every risk you take teaches you that the world doesn't end when you fail. The rejection doesn't destroy you. The setback doesn't define you. It all becomes part of your resilience. Fear and faith have the same definition. Both ask you to believe in something you can't see yet. The only difference is direction. Fear looks at the future and sees danger. Faith looks at the same future and sees possibility. You get to choose which lens you'll live through. And if you've been doubting yourself lately, remember, doubt is not the opposite of belief, it's part of it. It's the bridge between where you are and what you're capable of. Doubt doesn't mean stop, it means you're about to stretch. Fear is the beginning of freedom if you're willing to walk through it. You don't conquer fear by waiting for it to leave. You conquer it by proving you can keep going with it beside you. Your life's biggest moments will never come without it. You can't reach the next level without discomfort. You can't become who you're meant to be while staying who you've always been. The fear you feel before a leap isn't warning you not to jump, it's preparing your body for flight. You'll know you're growing when your fear starts to change. It stops saying, don't do it, and starts saying, can we really do this? That's not panic, that's potential. Fear is the pressure that forges strength. Diamonds don't form in comfort. Growth doesn't happen in calm. You can't evolve without friction. But fear can either fracture you or forge you. It depends on how you handle the heat. The moment you stop running from fear and start listening to it, you'll hear something surprising. It's not trying to scare you, it's trying to prepare you. It's saying, this matters. Fear only shows up when something is important. It doesn't chase people who don't care. So if you're scared, congratulations. You're close to something that could change your life. Fear is not a stop sign, it's a signal. It's your mind saying, pay attention. But most of us misinterpret that signal as a reason to run. We mistake activation for anxiety, readiness for risk. You have to retrain yourself to see fear as focus, that quickening of your heart, that tightening in your chest. That's your body saying, this moment matters. The people who accomplish great things aren't fearless, they're fluent in fear. They've learned how to translate that energy into action. When fear says, this is risky, they hear, this is worth it. When fear says, you might fail, they hear, you're about to learn. When fear says, you've never done this before, they hear, you're about to grow. Fear speaks in warnings. Courage listens for meaning. The difference between fear breaking you or building you lies in interpretation. You can either let it shrink your vision or sharpen your focus. Every fear has two sides, the imagined disaster and the potential breakthrough. Most people only see the disaster, but if you look closer, fear is simply pointing toward the edge of your comfort zone. And everything you want lives just beyond that edge. The job of fear is to keep you safe, not to keep you stagnant. But your brain doesn't always know the difference. That's why you have to remind yourself discomfort is not danger. The feeling of fear doesn't mean you're unsafe, it means you're alive. It means you're expanding. Think of fear like fire. If left unmanaged, it burns everything down. But if you learn to contain it, it becomes warmth, energy, momentum. You can cook with it. You can build with it. You can light the way for others with it. The fire is not the problem. The problem is how you use it. Fear will never go away, and that's not bad news. That's a reminder that you still care, that you still have something at stake, that you still have passion left inside you. A life without fear isn't bravery, it's numbness. Courage requires the existence of fear. The trick is to make fear a companion, not a commander. Let it sit beside you, not behind the wheel. Say, you can ride along, but you don't get to steer. The moment you learn to coexist with fear, you start winning battles you didn't even know you could fight. Fear gets smaller every time you face it, every time you do something that scares you. Making that call, launching that project, saying how you really feel, fear loses another piece of its grip. The only way to weaken fear is exposure. You have to walk straight into it until it realizes it can't control you. And don't be surprised if fear shows up disguised as logic. It's sneaky like that. It says, be practical, play it safe, wait for the right time. But those words are often fear wearing a suit, polite, persuasive, and protective. It doesn't sound like fear because it sounds rational, but it's the same old voice trying to convince you that discomfort equals danger. You'll know it's fear when the advice sounds safe but feels small, when the decision feels logical but leaves you empty, when your dreams start sounding like maybe later. That's when fear has you in a trap disguised as maturity. But maturity isn't avoiding risk. Maturity is understanding which risks are worth taking. Growth demands discomfort. You can't lead without fear. You can't love deeply without risk. You can't create anything meaningful without the possibility of failure. So when fear shows up, smile. It's confirmation that you're doing something that matters. If you weren't stepping into something meaningful, fear wouldn't bother showing up. Fear doesn't chase people who stay still. You can start seeing fear as your ally instead of your enemy. It keeps you awake. It makes you prepare harder, train smarter, think deeper. The difference is whether you let it paralyze or propel you. When fear comes, ask it a question. What are you trying to teach me? Because every fear carries information. Fear of failure teaches you preparation. Fear of rejection teaches you resilience. Fear of judgment teaches you authenticity. Fear of the unknown teaches you faith. If you stop running long enough to listen, fear will show you exactly where you need to grow. The people you admire, the speakers, the creators, the leaders, they all feel it too. The difference is they've stopped waiting for the fear to fade. They've realized that the presence of fear doesn't mean you're not ready, it means you're in the right place. Fear and excitement live in the same part of your body, the same racing heartbeat, the same sweaty palms, the same adrenaline. The only difference between the two is what you call it. The next time you feel fear rise up, rename it. Instead of saying, I'm scared, say, I'm energized. Instead of, I'm nervous, say, I'm alert. Fear and excitement are twins. Choose which one gets your focus. When you stop labeling fear as bad, you can start using it as guidance. The more scared you are of something, the more it probably matters. Fear isn't warning you to back away, it's highlighting the next step toward your purpose. Courage isn't something you wait for, it's something you create. It's built through repetition. The more you face fear, the more familiar it becomes. The more familiar it becomes, the less power it has. Fear feeds on avoidance. Every time you run from it, it grows. Every time you face it, it starves. You can't become fearless, but you can become fearless enough to move. Fear doesn't have to disappear for progress to begin. It just has to lose priority. And here's what most people miss: fear doesn't mean stop. Sometimes it means slow down. It means prepare. It means pay attention. It means there's something important at stake. Fear is your body's way of saying this matters. The goal is not to eliminate it, but to manage it. Fear gives you focus. It sharpens your instincts. It reminds you that you care. And that care, that investment, is what separates people who coast through life from people who grow through life. When you start to feel fear, don't run from it. Move toward it with curiosity. Say, what is this trying to show me? What am I supposed to learn here? Fear isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of awakening. Every time you face fear, it deposits something in you, resilience, wisdom, perspective. Fear shapes your character the way pressure shapes a diamond. Without that friction, you'd stay soft, safe, and the same. You can't build courage in calm waters. You build it in the waves, when you're off balance, when you're uncertain, when you're holding your breath and stepping anyway. That's where confidence comes from. Not from feeling safe, but from surviving moments that once scared you. The difference between fear driven people and purpose driven people is direction. Fear driven people run away from what scares them. Purpose driven people run toward it. The same emotion, two completely different outcomes. Fear isn't the barrier, avoidance is. The more you resist it, the stronger it becomes. But when you accept it, when you breathe through it, when you move in spite of it, it loses its grip. That's when you realize that fear was never the enemy, it was the invitation. The fear of failure is often louder than failure itself. Failure whispers lessons. Fear shouts lies. Fear says, if you fail, you'll look foolish. Failure says, if you fail, you'll learn something new. Fear tries to keep you safe. Failure tries to make you strong. Only one of them leads to growth. So if fear has been running your decisions, flip the script. Let it fuel your preparation. Let it push you to study harder, train longer, show up more consistently. Let it become the reason you execute instead of the excuse you make. When fear says you can't, use that as a challenge. Say, watch me. When it says you're not ready, respond, I may not be, but I'm willing. Willing beats ready every single time. The more you lean into fear, the more it becomes familiar. The same way your muscles adapt under tension, your courage grows under pressure. That's the alchemy of fear. It refines you. It doesn't destroy you unless you give it permission. And the truth is, every great story has fear woven through it. Every hero felt it before they rose. Every creator faced it before they built. Every leader fought it before they led. The difference isn't that they didn't feel fear, it's that they refuse to let it make them smaller. When you understand fear, you take its power away. When you respect it, you can redirect it. And when you move through it, you realize it was never as big as it seemed. You will never eliminate fear, but you can master how you respond to it. And that mastery changes everything. There comes a point where you stop trying to outrun fear and start learning to outgrow it. Because the truth is, you can't outsprint what's inside of you, but you can out evolve it. Growth doesn't happen when fear disappears. It happens when it changes shape. When the things that used to scare you become the things that strengthen you. When the situations that once made you freeze now make you focus. Fear will always show up before transformation. Always. It's like an alarm that goes off right before a breakthrough. You start to feel uncomfortable, uncertain, even anxious. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're getting close to something meaningful. Fear is the last barrier between where you are and where you're supposed to be. That's why the scariest decisions often turn out to be the best ones. The new job, the new city, the new relationship, the new dream, all of them come with that tightness in your chest, that whisper of, what if this goes wrong? But here's the truth. What if it goes right? What if the risk isn't about losing what you have, but about discovering what you're capable of? You'll never get rid of fear completely, but you can get better at recognizing its voice. Fear doesn't always say stop. Sometimes it says pay attention. Sometimes it says this matters. It's your mind's way of telling you we're stepping into unfamiliar territory. That's not danger, that's development. The greatest mistake you can make is thinking that comfort equals safety. Comfort can be a cage, it can be disguised as peace, but it's really protection, and protection from the risk of failure, protection from the sting of rejection, protection from the discomfort of change. But what you don't realize is that staying comfortable costs more than fear ever will. Every time you choose comfort over courage, you trade potential for predictability. You settle for what you know instead of exploring what could be. But potential is a living thing. It needs movement, it needs motion, it needs challenge. If you don't stretch it, it shrinks. Fear is a signal that something inside you wants to grow. That's why you feel tension. It's not resistance, it's readiness. You're being stretched into a bigger version of yourself. And yes, it's uncomfortable, but growth always is. Nobody grows in a straight line. You stumble, you doubt, you get scared, and that's exactly how you get stronger. You can start by reframing fear's role in your life. Instead of asking, how do I get rid of this feeling? Ask, what is this feeling trying to show me? Fear often points to what you care about most. You're not scared of everything. You're scared of something specific. And if you can name it, you can navigate it. You're not afraid of public speaking. You're afraid of being judged. You're not afraid of failure. You're afraid of losing identity. You're not afraid of starting over. You're afraid of what people will think if you fall again. Once you name it, you can challenge it. Once you see it clearly, it stops controlling you. When you face fear directly, you start to realize how much time you've wasted negotiating with it. You've lost opportunities, relationships, and ideas because you kept trying to be comfortable, but comfort won't get you there. Clarity will. And clarity is on the other side of fear. You have to decide that fear will not be the reason you stop. It can ride with you. It just doesn't get the steering wheel. It can raise its hand, but it doesn't get a vote. You're in charge now. Fear might be loud, but your purpose is louder. Your dreams deserve more than your doubts. And your purpose deserves more than your hesitation. When you look at successful people, it's easy to assume they're fearless. But the truth is, they've just built a different relationship with fear. They still feel it every time, before every speech, before every launch, before every risk. But they've learned that fear is a sign of alignment, not avoidance. It tells them they're headed in the right direction. You can learn to do the same. When fear shows up, say, thank you for the signal, then move anyway. You can acknowledge the emotion without obeying it. You can feel afraid and still take the step because movement is medicine. Every time you take action, you reclaim your power from fear. You remind yourself that the emotion might visit, but it doesn't define you. And the most beautiful part, when you walk through fear once, it never looks the same again. What once seemed impossible becomes your new baseline. What once seemed terrifying becomes your new normal. Fear shrinks every time you expand. It's not about fighting it, it's about outgrowing it. You've done it before. Think about it. The things that used to scare you no longer do. You've already proven that you can survive fear. Now it's time to thrive through it. Fear is the proof that your dream is bigger than your comfort zone. And that's a good thing because no one changes the world from a place of comfort. So don't wait for courage to come before you act. Courage doesn't appear in the absence of fear, it appears in the presence of it. Courage is a decision. It's a muscle that strengthens every time you choose to move despite the trembling. Every fear you face is an opportunity to become more of yourself. The version of you on the other side of that fear, that's the one you've been chasing. That's the one who's ready to lead, create, and live fully. The truth is, fear and faith are neighbors. They live right next door to each other. The same door that opens to fear also opens to purpose. You just have to decide which one you'll walk through. The most powerful people in the world aren't fearless. They're free, free from letting fear dictate who they are, what they do, and how far they'll go. And you can be too. You already have everything you need to move. The fear is proof that something meaningful is on the other side. Don't let it stop you. Let it guide you. Let it fuel you because fear is energy and energy can be transformed. What once held you back can now propel you forward. The same emotion that paralyzed you can now power you. The difference is in your perspective. You can choose to let fear shrink your world or expand it. You can choose to let it silence your voice or amplify your purpose. You can choose to let it drain you or drive you. That's the choice every great creator, leader, and dreamer has had to make. And if you're scared right now, it means you're alive. It means you're growing. It means you're about to cross a threshold. Don't step back, step through. The moment you do, something shifts. The fear that once felt heavy starts feeling lighter. The path that once looked impossible starts looking inevitable. That's how transformation happens, quietly through one brave moment at a time. You don't need to eliminate fear to be unstoppable. You just need to learn how to keep moving through it. The people who change their lives aren't the ones who never feel afraid. They're the ones who take action before fear has time to talk them out of it. So take the step, make the call, post the video, start the project, tell the truth, do it scared, do it imperfect, do it anyway, because fear doesn't go away when you wait, it goes away when you walk. And as you move forward, fear becomes less of a shadow and more of a light. It becomes the spark that ignites purpose, the flame that forges resilience, the fire that keeps you going when everything else tries to slow you down. Fear is not the barrier. It's the beginning. It's not the wall. It's the doorway. It's not the signal to stop. It's the invitation to rise. So the next time fear shows up, don't push it away. Thank it, feel it, then move with it. Because if you can learn to run with fear instead of from it, there's nothing in life you won't be able to face. And when you look back, you'll realize something powerful. Every time you walked through fear, it turned into freedom. Every time you leaned into discomfort, it became strength. Every time you acted despite the doubt, it became wisdom. You don't need to be fearless to win. You just need to stop letting fear decide what you do with your one and only life. You already know what to do. Fear just makes you forget. But here's the truth: fear isn't your weakness, it's your compass. It's pointing you straight toward the next version of yourself. So follow it, trust it, transform it, turn it into fuel, because the moment you do, fear stops being the reason you hold back and starts becoming the reason you rise. That's the power of turning fear into fuel.